Every few years, Apple releases a budget iPhone, but one of the questions I always ask myself is, why aren't these phones ever really cheap? We have to backtrack a little bit in order to actually answer this question. Let's start, of course, with the iPhone 5C. This was Apple's first ever budget iPhone. This was the first time they released two iPhones side by side, the iPhone 5S and the 5C. The 5S came with some awesome new features like a fingerprint scanner, a 64-bit chip, it came in a new color gold, and it also came at the same exact price tag as the previous year's iPhone, the iPhone 5, at $649 off contract. But then you had the iPhone 5C. There was literally no difference in this device when you put it next to the iPhone 5, other than the fact that it had a new housing, it was made out of plastic, and it came in 5 different colors, all for $549. It was a very expensive device for its time. When you take a look at Apple's pricing strategy, the first thing to look at is that Apple is considered a premium brand. With the iPhone 16e, for example, it's still an expensive device, and Apple has strategically priced it such that if you spend just a little bit more, you can get the much better iPhone, and Apple is at the point where they can get away with that. I mean, they have the money, they have the resources. Apple literally spends years engineering a brand new design, and they can milk profit out of that one single design across so many different iPhone models, right? Like, take a look at the iPhone 8, for example. You could say part of the iPhone 8 was influenced by the iPhone 7, but then the iPhone 8 helped Apple come out with the iPhone SE second generation, the iPhone SE third generation, and you guys can see where this is going. So yeah, a single design is very valuable to Apple, and they will charge and continue charging that premium price tag as long as they're able to. But one thing that I actually did here, which I found really interesting, is I actually plotted the price of every budget iPhone that Apple has ever released. That's the 5C, the SE first, second, and third gen, and of course the 16e. And it's actually interesting to see here that the iPhone 5C, when you adjust this for inflation today, would actually cost around $760. That is an insane price. That is literally almost the same exact price as the iPhone 16 today, which is just mind-boggling because this thing had 16 gigs of RAM when you got the base model. The iPhone SE 3rd gen, that's the one from 2022, is actually the cheapest iPhone here. That one would cost around $482 today when you adjust it for inflation. And the iPhone 16e is kind of in the middle between those two devices. The other thing to also realize is that inflation doesn't tell the entire story. Just because the iPhone 5C would cost $760 today, it doesn't mean that this device was some crazy expensive device in 2013. It's just that Apple valued it and priced it strategically so that they could get customers to at least have a cheaper option on the table while still being able to charge a lot of money for their flagship iPhone 5S. And when you take a look at it from the perspective of carrier subsidization, this was a thing. I think it was more common in the US and Canada. But basically, when you bought a phone, you could get the phone for like $99 on a 2-year contract, and you would basically pay off the phone with your cell phone plan over the 2 or 3 years that the contract was. And you can see here, Sprint actually offered the iPhone 5C for free. You didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, you just had to pay your monthly plan. And this is what made the iPhone 5C feel like a very cheap and affordable product, even though the phone was being paid off over the course of the 2 or 3 years that the customer was signing with Sprint. But also, contract pricing isn't really a thing here in the US anymore. I think they have like phone financing, so it's like very separated now. So you can get like the iPhone 16e finance for like 24 months, and then whatever cell phone plan you have, that's separate from your financing. So yeah, it's a little bit more transparent to consumers, and people know exactly how much they're paying for their phone. And in 2013, 16 gigs was just the norm, right? Phones didn't have 128 gigabytes of internal storage to start with. So that is technology that just evolved over time. I was actually very surprised to see that the iPhone SE 3rd gen was one of the cheapest iPhones, and that's actually one of the few iPhones that I think you can still buy in stores. I know some Walmarts here in the US, they still sell them as prepaid devices, so they'll be locked to the network provider. But from strictly just price alone, that is probably like the cheapest iPhone you can buy that still supports the latest software. So that was kind of cool to see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. I love making videos like these. Be sure to comment down below if you guys want to see more just like these, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.